Hi, everybody. I am Michael Bean, acting teacher, and this is your lesson for myfreeactingclass.com for Wednesday, May the 12th. Today, we will be going over more of the scripts in May's practice package. And so if you have not looked at that yet, let me quickly pull up the myfreeactingclass.com website for you and show you where you can find those. So if you go to myfreeactingclass.com, ta-da, which is probably how you found us at some point, and you click up here, scroll down, Monday to Wednesday. Monday, Straight Talk and Industry with Leanne Lapp. Leanne is amazing. If you have not sat in on her lesson, we don't record that one and post it. Tuesdays, camera skills and self-tape review with me. For those of you who were here yesterday, which I think is most everybody watching, I believe I'm going to re-record the actual review part of yesterday's before putting it on YouTube, because yesterday's actual tape was a little bit of a gong show and I don't actually want it preserved for posterity. But for those of you who were here, there you go. You get to see Michael Bean being kind of messy. Wednesdays, acting, story, and special guests with Michael Bean. Now, here. Tuesdays, email self-tapes to info@myfreeactingclass.com. You can just click on this, boom, it'll take you to email, and download the May 2021 practice script. You clicked on that. It would take you to this right here. Practice scenes, May 21. So there are multiple scenes here. I tried to put in something for several of the students, who had come that week, and to give a range of options and a range of ages, which is something that I haven't done with practice scripts before. Last week we looked at young Sarah, so female teens, male 30s, female 30s, MOW, movie of the week. This week, I want to look at as many of the other scripts as we can get through, so to start moving through those. So I'm going to need some folks to volunteer to read for me. I'm also going to need to see behind the scenes. So I'm gonna need some folks to read for me. Christina, are you open to reading today? What about you, Anthony? Claudine, can we press you into service, helping us out with reading? How do you feel about that?
I can. Yeah.
And what about you, Candy? Is your, I saw the cut out for a minute there, but are you available to read today? I can't hear you, but I'm seeing you nod your head. It's good. So let me go back to this. So I want to start with these story questions, because this is where I am starting with script analysis right now. So circumstances, who, what, where, when, why, so really straightforward, but this really involves just like a careful reading of it, careful reading of the stage direction, careful reading of the script. And my strong recommendation is that when you get a script, just read everything out loud. Read the lines out loud, read the stage direction out loud. And even if you've already gone over this in the lesson or using one that you've gone over in the lesson, my recommendation is that once you've printed up and you've started prepping it for real, still read everything out loud. If there's any words that you don't understand in there, look them up. Because before you start memorizing, just make sure you understand what you're saying and what it's about before you start memorizing. One of the classic examples that I like to use is a scene that right at the top of the scene says "int hospice night." Hospice is a place where people go to die. That's the only indication of the emotional weight of the scene. And so if you were like, I don't know what that means, but it's probably a hospital, it's fine, then you would miss the context of the scene entirely. Maybe I'll bring that scene in for June. So style, episodic, pilot, feature, MOW, etc. Partly because that gives you a sense of the tone and the genre. Looking something up on IMDb can really help you out there. Because sometimes it's like, it's not enough to just know that it is an MOW. You're like, well, you have to know that it is a Hallmark MOW. You have to look at it and go, oh, okay, this is one of those, Hallmark shows, I understand. The story from your character's perspective. I think that it's easy to, by accident, describe the story from outside your perspective or from the audience perspective, where you're like, oh, this is a story about somebody who is like struggling and then overcomes their struggle. And then the story from inside might be like, this is a story about me just like trying to get what I deserve and everything goes wrong. And if I'm acting out the story, then it's important for me to frame the story from my own perspective. And I think that's particularly true if you are auditioning for a minor character. So if we're way back here looking at the story, then it might be this. This is a story about somebody who is like trying to get what they want and overcoming all obstacles. But if you happen to be one of the obstacle characters, and your job, your function in the story is to try and stop this person from getting what they want in some small way, then the story from your perspective is going to be completely different because you don't have that sort of bird's eye view of it, where where the story is going. Relationship, strong feeling or opinion, and this goes for everything in the script. If there's anything there that you're like, meh, I don't know, I just kind of don't care, then I would say go back and give yourself a strong feeling or opinion. Will it necessarily take a scene that's boring and make it amazing? Not necessarily. As you play with it, you will discover that particularly the people in the scene, if you have strong feelings or opinions about them, that'll light it up. But really, everything you have a strong feeling or opinion about has the potential to make the story better, clearer, deeper, more interesting, especially if those strong feelings or opinions are informed by your life, or are informed by your own opinions about things, because that's where other people are going to experience them as creative because they're just not theirs. They're like, oh, I wouldn't have chosen that. And so that strikes me as very creative. And that might not happen with the first choice where you're like, yeah, on the page, it looks like she's really annoyed by her mom. But when you start overlapping choices, when it's like, well, it looks like she's annoyed by her mom, but this thing about like how much she just like loves her houseplants, and how like repulsed she is by the purple sweater, and her like deep fascination with tofu, that would never have thought to give those sort of overlapping set of strong feelings or opinions. So I guess what I'm saying is don't stop with one. That if you can bring your life into it, and sometimes you will surprise yourself with how much one of those strong feelings or opinions activates your imagination. Arc, I've been using as my sort of general word for how things change, right? And you can see it's tied back to those feelings or opinions. How do they change from the beginning to the end? An objective is, what do you want the other person to do or feel? Now, there are lots more questions that we could ask, but I think this is plenty for a foundation, especially if I'm working with somebody one-on-one. A lot of the time, these are the key ones that I keep coming back to and back to and back to. So, young Sarah, we looked at last week. Here we go. Rules of engagement. F, 20s or 30s. Jennifer, M, 20s, 30s. Adam. I've actually got, I don't have a link to it on this computer. So Candy submitted this practice self-tape, and I didn't get a chance to review it yesterday, but I'm very excited too. So why don't we get Candy to read Jennifer, and Anthony, if you're open to it, you can read Adam. Does that work for you too? Great. Interior, Adam and Jennifer's apartment. Adam is there, Jennifer is on the phone.
Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. Yes, I always hold my first cat on the subway. Mom, I have to go. Adam, I can't figure out the dishwasher. Okay, bye.
Now, a quick note. This is double spaced, right? So this back here, the dialogue is single spaced. This down here, the dialogue is double spaced. That means this is a multi-camera sitcom. That's generally speaking what this spacing means. Oh, and I've written single cam comedy on here. I gotta change that, don't I? Multi. Right, so if it's double spaced and the stage direction, in all caps, is also something that is, this I've seen it sometimes not, but this double spacing is a good indicator. Multi-camera sitcom means it's going to play like theater. Basically means that instead of just having one camera, like I am right now, both one camera focused on me, it means that you're going to have a couple of cameras on like a larger set that's sort of set up, almost like a very fancy theater set, and the cameras are further away and the microphones are further away. And sometimes there's even a live audience. So it's going to require more energy. It's going to require the actors to sort of go bigger with it. Back to the script. Adam reacts as she hangs up and makes one of those exasperated, my parents just pushed all my buttons noises.
I can't figure out the dishwasher. Why you have to make me sound like a moron?
Good. And Anthony, note that this is a question. And if you, so you're not saying I can't figure out the dishwasher, you're saying, what? Come on, right? And so this is big, this is a multi-camera sitcom. These two characters are either just married or engaged. Yeah, they've just gotten engaged, which you don't know yet. But can I get that line again?
I can't figure out the dishwasher.
No, it's a question. It's not a statement. I can't figure out the dishwasher. Like it's true. And what you're saying is like, what? No, come on. It's got to put a question mark on it. Try it one more time, Anthony.
I can't figure out the dishwasher.
So a question is going to end up. I can't figure out the dishwasher.
I can't figure out the dishwasher.
There you go.
Why you have to make me sound like a moron?
Go ahead, turn it on.
Adam looks to the dishwasher then.
So what do your parents say about us being engaged?
They're thrilled.
Cocky.
Of course they are. I mean, they met me.
You missed a word here, Anthony. Try it again.
Of course they are. I mean, they have met me.
Great. And try emphasizing the word have instead of me, and you'll find it changes the meaning of the line.
Of course they are. I mean, they have me.
So try emphasizing, so underlining the word have, because right now what you're saying is, I mean, they have met me. And I think that you'll find it changes the meaning of the line, or at least everybody else, I hope you notice that, if you underline the word have instead. So just try it again.
Of course they are. Of course they are. I mean, they have me.
Good. So this is the word met. And I know you're looking at it on the phone, so they have met me. So when you're looking at lines, emphasis actually can change the meaning of a line. And so there's a different meaning to, of course they are. I mean, they have met me, which is what I was trying to guide you to, or of course they are. I mean, they have met me, and those two things mean different things. There's actually different stories, which is kind of fascinating when you're looking at, actors, and what the actor does. Candy, let's go back to this line, just since we have the opportunity. And this time I'm going to do the mom's lines. Okay.
Okay, Mom.
Well, I'm just really worried about you over there in New York. It's very dangerous, and you kind of hold your purse on the subway all the time.
Tight on the subway.
Well, I saw this new part.
Adam can't figure out the dishwasher.
Okay, Bonnie. Well, we love you. We love you so much. Okay, so now give yourself more time. Where we are hearing that pause, and of course we could see your face. We would see the reaction to your mom going like, la, 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 la. But give yourself more time. I think the tendency with these little pauses is just to like race through them. And actually, the way you fill up your reactions here, this is what tells us the difference. Like right away, it's like, okay, this actor knows what they're doing. Especially if you're doing something like a phone call. Try it again.
Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. Yes, I always hold my purse tight on the subway.
And there was definitely not enough time for your mom to say anything about you holding your purse tight on the subway there.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
So the tendency is just to like to power through, and maybe it's because right now we're not looking at you. So right now, so let's change it so that we can look at you.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
Lighting.
Don't worry about the lighting. Good. And so just give me, okay, mom. Yes, I always hold my purse tight on the subway. And give us those pauses in between. Do you have a phone that you can hold, or are you actually doing this on your phone right now?
I'm on my phone right now.
Oh, good. Just give us comedy phone. Yeah.
Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom.
Subway.
Yes, I always hold my purse tight on the subway.
Right. Good.
Mom, I gotta go.
Yeah, good. And now without me, doing the fill-in, as though this isn't the like 10th time she's done this, it's the like 30th time. Like every time she talks to you, she does this thing. Good. Do it again.
Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. Yes, I always hold my purse tight on the subway. Mom, I gotta go. Adam can't figure out the dishwasher.
Good. And so Candy did something there that really worked, which is she actually put Adam on the opposite side of the camera, right? So Adam's over there, oh my God, good, I'm saved. I've got a reason to get off the phone. She hangs up. And so you can see what I was trying to get at there, which is that those reactions, that's what makes a phone call really alive. And I think it's easy to like kind of zoom in on in a phone call because it's just you, but really that's also what makes a scene alive. And I think that especially for those of you who've been coming to these lessons regularly, or just anybody who wants to experiment, it's the next thing to add, is your strong feelings or opinions about the things the other people are saying to you. To understand what it means to the character to be told to hold her purse tight on the subway. In a multi-camera sitcom, she's not going to be like, oh God, that hurts me inside. Because for comedy, and I've gone over this in previous lessons, you can find it in the video archive if you felt so inclined. You have big feelings about stupid stuff and very low consequences. So you're going to be like, it's going to be enormously frustrating, but it's not going to hurt you or make you think badly about your mom because there's going to be very little consequence. You're going to be like, oh, big feelings. And then the second it's over, it's going to be gone. Whereas in real life, you'd be frustrated, and then you'd be frustrated about this conversation with your mom for like the next half hour or hour, right? But you can see in this scene, what happens is she has this enormously frustrating conversation. My parents just pushed all my buttons, and then boom, she's immediately into making like fun, witty banter, with her fiance. So these two like clearly love each other. Some of the things that you want to fill out in your imagination is like, how long have they been living together? We've got if you are playing Adam in the scene, then you would want to like this whole thing here. You would want to basically go back and forth between struggling with the dishwasher, and watching your partner on the phone, right? So you're like, and the buttons aren't working. Your mom again, and I'm just struggling with the thing. That's fine. Come on. You have to justify her partner saying like, Adam can't figure out the dishwasher. Right, that you have comedic potential there that is just handed to you by the script. Okay, let's look at the next scene in here. Ooh, what are you giving us here, Candy? There's the backup. Anthony must have been asking about it yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
Good. So let's go back to the script. Right, we've got the Adam's reaction written in here. One of the things that's going to be really important in terms of strong feeling or opinion here is that these two really love each other, right? Like that it would be easy without sort of more pages or without breakdown to think that like this was a straight up fight. And what we've got is like multi-camera sitcom. Of course they are. I mean, they have met me. We could read Adam as like a real jerk, but the combination of him not being able to turn on the dishwasher, bantering with her, and says to me that this is that he's joking. This is a joke. So let's move on to the next scene. What we've got here is Right Hand Man, M20's Right Hand Man. M20's Osweiler style episodic serious drama. This is from the show Snowpiercer. Which is that on Netflix right now? I don't remember. The interior, third class Terrence's Corridor Day. Now, let's see. Christina, do you want to read Osweiler?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. And Claudine, do you want to be right hand man for us and and push Christina around some?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. She's like, okay. Good. I'm going to encourage you to be as mean as possible. Third class, Terrence's Corridor Day. Osweiler was propelled through the door into the room. Right-hand man appears, having pushed him.
Get your ass in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going.
Interior, third class, Terrence's toilet, continuous. Terrence, steely-eyed gangster, sits in a bathroom stall which serves as a makeshift office. Cushions on the throne, an abacus on the wall. He's painting his nails with polish.
Man of the hour, boss.
Good. We got this crossed out line from Terrence about time. Osweiler is forcible, and you always read the crossed out lines, just like you always read the bits before it says start and after it says end, or anything that's crossed out on the script. And you read those and you read them out loud to make sure that you don't miss anything. Because, for instance, if you didn't read that here, you wouldn't catch this third class reference. You also wouldn't catch he's being pushed. Which, if your right-hand man, is significant because you want to do the pushing, and if your Osweiler is significant because you want to be pushed. There we are. Osweiler is forcibly propelled in front of Terrence.
No need to push right hand.
Good. Now you're saying this like he's a fairy tale character. Whereas I think this is you like mocking him a little bit.
So no need to push right hand.
But remember, this is not a comedy. So you trying to force the laugh or add the laugh, like you are being bullied in front of a gangster, by a thug, right? So just keep it way, way, way simpler. Do less with it. In fact, Christina, try just saying, try saying, "Hey, get off my back."
Get off my back.
Yeah, but even less, even simpler. Just, "Hey, get off my back."
Hey, get off my back.
Good. And now we're going to go back and you're going to say the line like you said that.
No need to push right hand.
Okay.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Osweiler turns to face Terrence. Osweiler, there's a line crossed out here. Terrence, I was coming to see you. Ooh, Anthony, you want to give me this Terrence line?
Name Tally.
Sure.
What did it?
I'll Anthony, can you just jump in with it? Like I like I said, I know you're reading on a small device, but
All right. What did a Tally cop and lead brakeman want?
They were asking. Sorry, they were asking about Chrono. Didn't say nothing.
right, liar. Right-hand man nudges Osweiler. Osweiler sweats. Gesundheit. Off Terrence, definitely someone to fear. Okay, so bunch of information in the script, just if we're looking at circumstances, right? We've got to read all the way through. If you didn't read this last stage direction, for instance, you might completely misread the scene. You might say, "Oh, well, he's sitting in a converted toilet painting his nails, and so he's like clearly not that dangerous." You write down here, Osweiler sweats. Off Terrence, definitely someone to fear. Right? We know here that Osweiler's lying. It's because it's in the stage direction. If it was a character saying it, then we might have to be like, does that the character saying he's a liar doesn't necessarily mean he's a liar. But in this case, if it's in the stage direction, okay, he's lying. They were asking about Cronola. I didn't say nothing. This dropped G also gives us some input on maybe the way Osweiler talks. Like maybe you don't sort of fully drop the G's off the rest of it, but it gives you that sense of like, oh, the characters got like a lower class accent, right? And right-hand man, we've got sort of the pushing steely-eyed gangster. So the right hand of a steely-eyed gangster is you're going to play that differently than the right-hand man of the CEO. Forcibly propelled. One of the things that I haven't gone over in class lately, but Anthony, let's say that you were like, I really like this right-hand man. Yeah, it's older than me, but like I want to try playing that. That one of the ways that you can do physical action, like if I'm pushing somebody and I'm just not pushing anything, you can kind of really see how fake it is. However, if I'm giving myself resistance, right? So if I'm pushing on my own hand, but I keep it down here where the camera's, I'm like, come on, just get in there. It changes my entire physicality because pushing against myself tightens up these muscles, tightens up these muscles. You're going to see more threat because there's more physical action happening. And so if you're Osweiler, then you can give that to yourself. Hey, okay, fine, like stop pushing me. And if you're coming in as the thug, then you can come in and do that physical action. So, there's a little something that you can add. Let me see how many more of these. Oh, and then there's only one more. So let's read one more. Candy and Claudine, can you help me with this one? Great.
Yep.
So Claudine, you get to be the like raging feminist mom of Candy's character. So Candy's character has just like showed up at your house unexpectedly, or like your like women only commune, unexpectedly, and she's this dude, and you sort of like take her to task, and you have this banter. Artie asked me to put something in the that she could play, and this, I certainly didn't choose this one like, oh yeah, this character is perfect for Artie. It was just like, oh, I love this scene, I'm gonna put in a page of this one. And it's definitely sort of more age appropriate, maybe than the other scenes. So here we go. J-Pod, right? So this is from a comedy. Is it okay? Interesting. There we go. We've got single spaced. So that says single cam, dry comedy. You can see it's page 18 of the script, so we're sort of early on in the script. I've only included one page. These are, I believe, from the Freedom, or from the characters' audition times, but there were 9 pages of it. Exterior women's safe house. Notice that there's a Y here that tells you how feminist they are. So like a little clue. Front door, night. John Doe stands at the front door of a hippie house. He reaches to the side and rings a doorbell made of a large latex breast. It rings the sound of women chanting. Like now inappropriate stage direction omitted, enters the door, gives John Doe a condescending once over, and disappears inside. After a second, Freedom comes to the door.
Juniper, you know you're not welcome here. This is a woman's safe house, a refuge for phallocentric culture.
Good. Now, Claudine, just for fun, especially because you had to be really, aggressive, in your last one. In this one, give me, I am so much better than you.
What, you want me to say that?
Yeah. Just say I am.
I am so much better than you.
Good. Exactly. Just like it's true. And now say the line like you said that.
Juniper, you know you're not welcome here. This is a woman's safe house, a refuge from a phallocentric culture.
I'm not Juniper.
It's ludicrous to call yourself John Doe.
And you being named Freedom is normal. Today was the first time you've ever bothered to investigate my life. And that was only to pick up some lasagna.
You know why I don't come to your office. Making violent games goes against everything I raised you to be.
No, it doesn't. You raised me to be myself, and that's who I am.
You're contributing to the violence in this world.
John Doe gives up. He's never going to be heard.
I'm sick of your narcissistic judgmental stance on my life.
Great. And so if you were, right, so we got circumstances here, we know where they are, women's safe house, right, hippie house, like a hippie house that is sort of like ludicrously over the top, such their doorbell is made from a large latex breast and rings to the sound of women chanting. So that gives you a sense of like how ridiculous they're going with the setup for the show. So if you were playing Freedom, you could not go too far. In terms of like you could come in with like every sort of hippie thing that you could possibly think of around your house. You could just like decorate yourself with all of them in layers, and probably if we were exploring it, I would say like really go for the character, like really have fun with this, because she's almost written as this over the top character, this like sort of priestess of like feminism and women things. And contrasted with this guy who's sort of like hip and cynical and makes video games. And if you were going to do that, like if you're going to do like a more character read, especially for a comedy like this, I think it'd be really important to have one line that was just like really simple and honest. Right. So let's say that you were going to go way over the top with this like, Juniper, I'm going to do this very airy, fairy, charactery thing, and then you pick one of these lines that you just deliver as completely honest. You're like, look, you're contributing to violence in the world. so that partly for contrast, which is so important for this kind of comedy, but partly so that you could illustrate to people this other thing that I'm doing is a character choice and not just because I'm a bad actor and I'm stuck this way. Which I think is probably important if people are not already familiar with your work and if you don't have a resume that sort of reflects, yes, you've got lots of experience with this kind of comedy, right? So we've got those circumstances, like we know where they are. We've got this great moment before of the ringing, seeing the weird doorbell, hearing the weird doorbell. Somebody else answers the door and looks at you and they're scary. They walk off. Then your mom comes. Ugh, she's all in like hippie priestess mode. Got some great things to react to if you're playing John Doe, right? A refuge from a phallocentric culture. Like fantastic line to have a strong feeling or opinion about. Circumstances. Right, with any of these scenes, we could go through any of these questions, but with this one in particular, one of the things that might be useful to look at is arc. Because if you don't make a choice about this, it's possible that this scene is really fun for about 15 seconds, and then it just kind of finds its groove and does exactly the same thing for the whole page. And so even in something as small as this one-page practice scene, what you want to do is find some change. And if you remember in that scene, oh, I got away too quick. We've got a little John Doe gives up. He's never going to be heard, right? And so what is that at the beginning of the scene, right? That where the character is trying to be heard, and what is that at the end of the scene where he gives up and is like, okay, I'm not going to be heard. And then how do you find your own words for like what is that strong feeling or opinion? And then if you are if you are prepping the freedom character, then what is that like when your son shows up unexpectedly at the door? And to find that strong feeling or opinion and to be really clear about it, right? Like it's sort of like somebody like repulsive or wrong or disgusting shows up in your safe place. And so and it's an interesting, it's an interesting specific feeling opinion because he's still your son. Like, so you're not like, oh, I hate you, crush you. You're just like, oh, what are you doing here? Right. So it's like you're having the ladies' weekend, and your partner shows up unexpectedly, or your teenage son does. And you're just like, it's day 2 of ladies' weekend. Right? Like, what are you doing? Like, get lost. We're doing lady things. Right. And you got to come in and like peel the cucumbers off your face and you're covered in mud mask and you can just see him going, just like, oh, I'll kill you. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's not the thing that you connect with. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm like, I'm playing my video games, and in that like block of time that I have reserved for that, and somebody shows up like, I have all these very questions. It's like, no, I have to destroy things. This is my time for blowing up aliens. Leave me alone. Maybe it's that. Right? Like you personalize it in whatever way makes sense to you. That's one of the things that's going to help it be alive. That's going to help us go, oh my God, never would have pictured freedom that way, but that's the beautiful thing. Like, let's say Candy's playing this and she's like, actually, I have no connection to hippiness. Great. Well, she dresses up in all her hippie fairy, like froofy things. And then she's like, but what I really connect with is violent video games. So I'm going to play it like I just really want to get back to my violent video games. Does that make sense? No, like it is not a substitution. That's not what freedom's getting back to. It's a way for Candy to understand the emotional impact of what's happening, right? You do not have to empathize with the actual thing. You just have to try and empathize with the feelings behind the experience, which is like, I'm being interrupted here. And it's really important that I protect this thing and get back to it right now. Mom, leave me alone, or whatever that is. Even though in the scene, it's actually, you're the mom, and it's your kid who's ringing the doorbell. I could keep talking and talking about it, but I feel like I've done a good overview of all the scenes in the practice set now. If you have specific questions about them, or if you're like, oh, I wish there was more to this, you can always go on IMDb and look. You can go on YouTube and find trailers for these things. The names of the projects, I believe most of them are right there on the script. And I look forward to seeing what you do with them. So, like I said, I am going to, I think, do a quick retape of yesterday's self-tape review. Candy, do you want me to include your tape in that, or do you want me to wait and review it next week when you can be there and talk to me about it?
Would you mind waiting? Because I do like to hear some of the feedback, if that's all right.
No, of course, I don't mind waiting at all. Like good. So I will wait and look at it with everybody next Tuesday. And so she's doing an extended version of the scene where
I actually just ended up doing the one page there.
perfect.
So.
She's doing the one page that we looked at today, and so that'll be a perfect illustration, of some of the things we talked about. And Candy, if you want to keep exploring the scene between now and then, and send us like another take of it, with either new information or just like having settled for a week, so you don't have to think about the lines as much. Please do, and then I'll review both of them at the same time with like, this is 1 week and this is a week later. That would be good for us too. If you decided you wanted that extra practice. Anthony has a great question, who are the best actors to learn from? And Anthony, I will think about my answer to that question in detail, and get back to you. Honestly, I don't feel comfortable giving you a list, because I really think that this is something that you have to decide for yourself. There are so many kinds of good acting. But who are the best actors to learn from? The ones who you really want to watch, right? The ones, and particularly the ones who are like, oh yeah, I want to do work that's like that. So Anthony, I think I do have my answer already, which I just want to turn the question back around on you. And next week when I talk to you, I want you to tell me 3 actors that you're like, oh yeah, it's this guy on YouTube, and this guy who's on this Netflix show that I really like, and this guy who like looks kind of like me but is 6 or 7 or 8 years older, and like I totally want to be able to be where he's at 6 or 7 or 8 years from now, right? So you have the opportunity to sort of curate who your role models are, and so particularly if you're talking about learning by watching other people's work, it'd be a different question. It was like, who is it who you might learn what you need from their acting lessons or talking about their work? Different answer. But how about if I ask you next week? That sounds like fun. Then everybody else can be thinking about that too. Like, okay, who are my mental role models? Like, who am I actually using as my benchmarks? Because it's probably not, I don't know, Anthony Hopkins. You're like, why would I use some like old bald white guy? Instead, you're gonna like pick somebody whose work you actually not just like look up to, but that inspires you in some way. Yeah. So great question, Anthony. Thank you. All right, everybody, kept you a little bit over. Thanks for sticking around, and I will be back next Tuesday with self-tape review. We'll see what Candy's doing. Anybody who wants to do one of these practice scenes, I would love to review your practice scene in class next week. Please send me the tape. I will be as kind of gentle as you need me to be. It'll let me talk to you about camera technique and setup, and also give you some specific individual pointers around the kind of storytelling you're doing. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
you.
you. Bye.